Well, hello everybody, this is Andrew Gregory, and today we're going to be talking a little bit more about the Parish Library. Now, this short film has only been sent to those people who have already successfully logged into the Parish Library. But we're going to start by just reminding everybody how that login is performed, just in case you haven't done it for a while and can't quite remember. So we're going to start by showing you the long method of logging in, and then I'm going to show you how to bookmark the website that you get to as part of the Parish Library, and then that means that in the future you'll be able to very quickly find the bookmark, click it, and you'll be taken straight into the Parish Library without having to supply a password. So you open a browser, and here the browser is Chrome. Yours won't look like this. This is a heavily Jupyterized version of Chrome, but you may use Edge, Microsoft's Edge, or you might use Safari if you've got an Apple device. But anyway, open a browser. The browser is the way you normally find your way around the internet. And in the address bar, which is up towards the top of the screen, if you can type in www.onedrive.com and press enter, and this will take you to the OneDrive page associated with your personal Microsoft account. Now, if the only Microsoft account you have is the Parish Library, then you may be taken straight to the Parish Library. But for those of you who've got a personal account, then there is just this additional step necessary, which is to find your way over to a little picture towards the top right-hand corner of the screen, which represents your Microsoft account. And this is my account. But you can see down here there are a couple of other Microsoft accounts with which I'm associated, and one of them is a part of the Parish of Wantage on Microsoft.com arrangement, which we call the Parish Library. So I'm going to click on there, and it should take me straight to the Parish Library, and there it is. Now, your Parish Library screen may not look exactly like this, but it will have some similarities, especially this device up here of 9 dots in a square, because that introduces the menu, and we're going to need to see that later. But now that we've got in, you can see that in the address bar there is quite a lengthy string to represent the login to your particular Parish Library homepage. And so the easiest way to get into the Parish Library next time is to bookmark it now. And the way you do that, and I think all browsers probably employ the same technique, is that they've, at the end of this long web string, this URL as it's called, there'll be a star, and when you click the star, it will say, well, I've added the bookmark. I've bookmarked this page, and I've saved it to the bookmarks bar. And what that means is that we will now find it, and this is the bookmark bar, and you can't see it, can you? But there is just this sort of additional hidden bookmarks, and we're going to find that that is the bookmark to this page. For this second part of the film, we're going to be looking at the bit that I really want to show you, which is how to access the Sharepoint element of what we've established for the Parish of Wantage. So all that you've seen so far has been to do with files, and if I click on my files, then these are all the files which are associated with the Parish of Wantage. And the Treasurer has got full access to the financial file, and the PCC Secretary has got full access to the PCC folder, and the people who work in the parish office have got full access to parish administration, and so has the vicar and church wardens. But generally speaking, people don't have access to those things. In fact, you probably don't normally see any more than the media and history folders. But nevertheless, we're all working away in the same collection of data. But what I want to direct you to now is, if we go up to this menu area, which is shown as a device of 9 dots in a square shape, this will generate the Microsoft menu for all the things that are available to people who are working in the parish library. They're all components actually of a Microsoft package called Microsoft Office 365 for business. But the bit that we're interested in right now is the bit called Sharepoint. Now, I'm rather hopeful that all of you are going to be able to see what I'm showing you now. I've tried to set things up so that you can, but if you can't, then do let me know. We'll work on it to make sure that you do have the correct access to see these things. But I'm rather hoping that you will see somewhere on the page that you get one of these boxes called Parish of Wantage. And if we click on that, then it takes us to the first of our Sharepoint pages. So the Parish of Wantage actually falls, as part of the parish library, the Parish of Wantage actually falls into two halves. There's the parish handbook, which is all about the way the church hangs together in terms of the parish church and Holy Trinity Church, and the various activities that occur within those two buildings. So if I click now on the parish handbook, it's going to give me various options that I can look at. There's just clicking on this whole picture takes me to the parish church. This picture takes me to an area that's devoted to Holy Trinity. There's an area for PCC members, there's an area for music, and there's something called parish people. And as I scroll down, there are some other bits too. There's an area for finance, there's an area for the various groups that we find within the parish. There's some useful links to other web pages, and there's something called the knowledge base, which we'll look at separately. And we'll see that within the Parish of Wantage, there are a number of things that we can look at, which have been generated by individuals who work in these areas, and at a lower level in the parish library. That is to say, the person who's got control over the T-bar page. T-bar is the like the little coffee shop that we run once a month at Holy Trinity, where people can have a natter over a cup of tea and a piece of cake. They will have set up events in T-bar. Events will have been set up in Trinity Tots, and events for live streaming will have been set up at a lower level within the parish library. But they drift up to the top level, and the top level here is the whole parish handbook. And we can see that there's a live stream service on the 11th of February. Trinity Tots will be running on the 19th of February. T-bar will be on March the 8th, and again on April the 12th. So those are events, and they're one of the things that we can set up at the level where they're organised, but the news of it will drift up through the layers of the parish library and eventually settle at the top, which is here, the parish handbook. And similarly to events, there are news items, which is where we've got something to boast about, something to share with the rest of the church. And so the PCC is telling us something here. Something has emerged from Holy Trinity, and Trinity Tots saying something about the Christingle. So this all appears as a kind of a magazine for the church. But up here, if I click on the parish church, then we're going to see that some of these events also come up into this area. And there's a whole raft of things that we can say about the parish church, and which I haven't said yet, because this whole process of building the parish handbook is in a completely fledgling state. So there's a whole raft of things that we could say about the parish church, but it'll take somebody to write these things and to collect the information together. So this is what we're going to find throughout this. I'm going to give you just a quick tour of the pages that are available, but none of them yet have been set up in a way that we would want them to be seen. Don't be fooled into thinking this is a website. It's not a website. This is something called an intranet. It's only available to those people who have got a login to the parish library. So it's a private thing. It's not for the public. It's only for members of the church who have been given a login. At the top here, we can see that there are various there's a couple of items at the top of the screen here. Clicking on pages shows various other pages that we could go to. Actually, we could have selected these at the top level, or we could return to that top level. Holy Trinity. Again, various news and events will have drifted up into to the Holy Trinity level. So Holy Trinity is host both to Trinity Tots and T-Bar, and so events which have been set up for Trinity Tots and T-Bar will have floated to the surface here at the Holy Trinity level, and then further they go up from Holy Trinity to the parish handbook level. And once again, a lot could be said about Holy Trinity here, a load of photographs, a load of links and words to describe Holy Trinity, which I haven't written yet. I think it's not necessarily me that would write them. And as we look at music, for example, yeah. So we've kind of set up the precursors to things that might be said here. There might be something said about the organ, and there might be something about the choir. And this would, clicking on either of these, would take us to the appropriate pages where some effort had been made to describe these things. So that's the parish handbook. All that you've seen here are just, the basic places where things can be hung. Absolutely nothing has been set up as yet, and I think it's going to take some effort to do that, and by a variety of people. For example, one would expect to see something here on the bell ringers, but only the bell ringers know or would be able to set up a page that relates to them and provide the relevant photographs and words and perhaps even sounds of various peals. All those things are possible. Let's return to the parish handbook level. So one of the things that that we can move smartly into is the knowledge base. And the knowledge base is effectively an encyclopedia for the parish. So really it's only a collection of articles arranged just as they would be arranged in an encyclopedia. So if I go to A, then everything beginning with A. Now these are just a couple of jokey ones I've put here just for as examples of the sort of thing that might be here. But clicking here would take us in this case to how we use the alphabet in the Parish of Wantage, the ABC. Adding up, this would take us to the finance department. These aren't real. I've only put them here just to illustrate how these elements of the knowledge base would work. Apples. All the parish knows about apples. So, next thing perhaps we ought to see then is if I go back to the knowledge base, and we're going to look at B, which is for parish choir. So clicking here would take us to the parish choir page that we could also have got to by clicking through the parish church and looking at the various groups under it and so on. So this, rather like the internet, this is a kind of a closely wrought web of ideas and links and so on. There would be more than one way of getting to the same page. But it's up to the individuals who create the page to keep the page fresh and all of the knowledge in it up to date and accurate. So that ultimately what we have is a document which can be read throughout the parish as the font of all knowledge. If I go to L, then live streaming, and clicking here would take me on to a page that would say all that there is to say about live streaming. And if I go to T, then we find that there is an article here for T-Bar. So clicking there would take us through to tell us all about T-Bar and all of the events that are planned for T-Bar, and Trinity Tots, again with news and events and so on, which all of which relates to Trinity Tots. But the people who run the T-Bar and the people who run Trinity Tots would be responsible for keeping those pages up to date. And with all the pages in the parish library up to date, we have a completely up-to-date parish library, and that's how it's intended to work. So I'll be working hard to get more people to log in, people who have specialist knowledge and a feel for the for the finer points of the way the parish operates. Between us, we'll build up a document worth owning.